Most people look at IShowSpeed and just see a loud teenager who got lucky. But what he actually did was stumble onto the ultimate blueprint for modern internet fame. He figured out a completely new way to handle human attention, bridging the gap between massive hours-long broadcasts and the lightning-fast world of short video feeds. He basically turned his streams into a factory for viral moments. He realized that nowadays, you don't actually need a viewer to sit through a grueling 4-hour live broadcast. You just need to trigger 5 seconds of pure, unadulterated chaos. Something so bizarre or high energy that short-form video algorithms have no choice but to force-feed it to 50 million people overnight. It sounds incredibly basic, but it is the exact engine driving internet culture right now. Look at how his track, World Cup, took over the world. It didn't climb traditional music charts through a massive corporate marketing push. Instead, within hours of dropping, tiny snippets of the song were already blanketing TikTok, Instagram, and sports pages across every continent. Before long, his presence everywhere didn't even feel shocking anymore. It just felt normal. A kid from Ohio had somehow become one of the most visible faces on the planet, recognized by global athletes and casual football fans alike. This is Era Review, where fame meets truth. And today, we are talking about IShowSpeed. To see just how surreal this entire transition actually is, you have to rewind to 2019. Back then, Darren Watkins Jr. was just sitting in his bedroom in Cincinnati, screaming at a basketball game on his monitor, streaming to an empty chat room where almost nobody was watching.
Good game.
Flash forward a few years, and it is nearly impossible to find a person on the internet who doesn't know his name. By 2020, you didn't need to sit through a full broadcast to know exactly who Speed was because random viewers were doing the heavy lifting for him. Speed's entire strategy was hands-off, logging onto YouTube to bark at his webcam or lose his mind over a bad game while the internet did the heavy lifting for him. And within minutes, an army of independent clip channels would slice up the footage and spread it across every vertical phone feed. An entire online economy where teenagers created unpaid fan-run accounts with names like Speed Clips, IShowSpeed Daily, or Speed Vids. They weren't hired by Speed, they did it completely independently because cutting up his wildest 5-second moments was a guaranteed way to pull in millions of views, trick the algorithm, and grow their own social media pages. Because of them, millions of people who had never watched a live stream were suddenly seeing his face daily, keeping his content permanently relevant without him ever needing a marketing team or a traditional PR plan. Even a permanent ban from Twitch in late 2021 couldn't kill his momentum. For almost any other creator, losing your primary platform is a career-ending disaster, but Speed didn't disappear or make a corporate apology video. He just shifted his exact same daily schedule over to YouTube. His viewers didn't care about the app. They just wanted the show, and they followed him instantly. Still, to truly break out of the gaming bubble and build an audience that lasted, he needed a bigger hook. He found it in Cristiano Ronaldo. What started as a running joke quickly became his entire online identity.
Bradley donated £1.79 through Super Chat. What soccer football team do you support?
Cristiano Ronaldo, suey.
Speed leaned heavily into a frantic obsession with Ronaldo, constantly throwing himself into the signature celebration and wrecking his own furniture whenever the star scored. Hardcore football fans called him a casual who didn't know anything about the sport, but you didn't need to understand tactical formations to find the chaos entertaining. Before long, massive football pages like 433 and ESPNFC were posting his clips right alongside actual match highlights, and famous players began interacting with him online. An 18-year-old from Ohio was suddenly a major figure in global football culture. By 2023, the online hype turned into real-world chaos. Years of non-stop football content led to a brief, emotional meeting with Ronaldo in a Portugal parking garage that instantly topped global sports headlines. From there, his international tours became absolute madness. In Oslo, fans broke through barricades, forcing his team to lift him over the swarming crowd. In Jakarta, thousands chased his convoy, completely freezing traffic for blocks. Viewers weren't just watching a creator get views, they were watching a kid grow up and handle the extreme highs and lows of fame in real time. That human connection is exactly why they stayed. By late 2024, the old guard completely gave up trying to ignore him. He was invited to the exclusive Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris, walking the black tie red carpet in a tuxedo, barking at the best players on earth and screaming from his seat inside a quiet theater. Mainstream broadcasts didn't cut around him. They clipped his reactions for their own pages because they realized they needed his audience. Speed never changed his behavior for television, never cleaned up his style, and never asked legacy media executives for a seat at the table. He just turned on his camera, created the moments, and let the algorithm do the rest. Back in 2016, Darren Watkins Jr. was just a regular high school kid in Cincinnati, trying to balance classes, football practice, and video games. At a time when the biggest gaming channels were putting out highly polished, heavily edited videos, Darren went in the complete opposite direction. He took a completely raw approach, uploading unedited gameplay directly from his bedroom. For the first 3 years, the channel was a ghost town. Even though he uploaded multiple times a week and tried out all kinds of different commentary styles, his videos just couldn't get any traction in YouTube's algorithm. By 2019, Darren was stretching himself thin between school, a regular job, and streaming, frequently spending his nights talking to a completely empty chat window and a viewer count that sat at dead zero. Everything changed in early 2020. With everyone stuck indoors and glued to their phones scrolling through short videos, Darren completely capitalized on the moment by swapping his pre-recorded videos for daily YouTube live streams. He threw out the calm, polite tone of traditional gaming commentators and just let loose. If a game lagged, he barked straight at his monitor. If he lost a match, he'd throw his controller and leap out of his chair. He started pulling bizarre, unscripted stunts like streaming for hours in a full formal suit or setting off actual fireworks right next to his bed, filling the room with thick gray smoke while his family ran in to stop him. Fan-run clip channels absolutely loved it. They sliced up the madness into 5-second vertical videos that completely flooded social media feeds, pushing his subscriber count into the millions without him ever spending a single dollar on marketing. Just as his career was absolutely taking off, everything hit a massive wall. In late 2021, Speed was a guest on a live online dating show called eDate, hosted by fellow internet personality Adin Ross. During the December 2021 full episode, he completely lost his temper and started screaming aggressive insults at a female contestant. The clip went viral instantly, triggering a massive wave of public backlash. Within days, Twitch handed him a permanent ban, a massive setback that would have completely ruined most live streamers. The standard industry playbook says you're supposed to disappear for a while, put out a polished corporate apology video, and pray for a second chance. Speed didn't do any of that. He completely ignored the rules, moved his entire daily streaming schedule over to YouTube, and just kept going. When he turned his camera back on for his very first stream after the ban, his audience was already waiting for him. They transitioned over seamlessly, proving that his fans didn't care about the app he was using. They were just loyal to him. In November 2022, Speed took his content to a whole new level. He packed up his mobile streaming gear, bought a ticket, and flew to Qatar to cover the FIFA World Cup live on the ground. The moment he stepped inside those massive 80,000-seat stadiums, he instantly became a sideshow himself. Crowds of fans swarmed him for photos and videos right in the middle of the matches. While he was there, he filmed a music video for his track World Cup, dancing through the streets in different country jerseys. The video exploded, quickly becoming one of the most watched uploads on his entire channel. His presence was so massive that mainstream TV broadcasts couldn't ignore him. When Portugal was shockingly knocked out of the tournament, sports networks actually panned their cameras over to the stands just to capture his raw, heartbroken reaction, solidifying his spot right at the center of the biggest sporting event on Earth. By mid-2023, Speed had spent over a year chasing Ronaldo from Manchester to Madrid, only to get blocked by stadium security or miss the team bus by literally minutes. That brutal losing streak finally ended in June 2023, inside a stadium parking garage in Portugal, where Speed was streaming live after an international match. In a crazy twist of luck, and actually flagged down Ronaldo's approaching car to get it to stop. The moment the car door opened and Cristiano Ronaldo stepped out, Speed completely lost it. He literally dropped to his knees in tears. Ronaldo actually had to calm him down before giving him a hug, posing for photos, and doing the iconic celebration together right there in the garage. The entire interaction lasted less than a minute, but the viral photo instantly blew up across every sports network on Earth, finally validating years of streams, broken monitors, and relentless football content. Following his milestone meeting with Ronaldo, Speed took his content to a whole new level by launching unscripted international IRL tours. Armed with just a mobile camera rig and absolutely no plan, he traveled from city to city, and the reception was pure madness. In Tokyo, massive crowds swarmed his position, forcing him to literally run into local shops just to find safety. In Mumbai, he stepped onto a public field, wearing a traditional cricket uniform, and was completely surrounded by a sea of thousands of people within 30 minutes. But things reached a truly chaotic peak when he touched down in Europe and Southeast Asia. In Oslo, Norway, desperate fans completely blocked the streets surrounding his location, eventually smashing through security barricades. The situation got so intense that his team had to physically lift him over the swarming crowd just to get him into a getaway car, which onlookers immediately jumped on. Then came Jakarta, Indonesia, which felt like a scene out of a movie. The sheer volume of people tracking his convoy through local markets was so overwhelming that local police officers had to form a continuous human wall just so he could move through the city safely. By late 2024, the traditional sports world finally gave up trying to ignore him. Their surrender came in the form of an official invitation to the Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris. Historically, this event was a strictly managed black tie affair reserved exclusively for elite athletes and legacy journalists. Speed completely disrupted the prestigious atmosphere, walking the red carpet in a tuxedo while broadcasting live to millions of people on his phone. He walked right up to world-class players to ask unscripted questions. And when the winner was announced, his loud, unfiltered shouting inside the quiet theater was immediately clipped and shared by the official broadcast accounts to drive up their own engagement. He followed that up by breaking into mainstream combat sports. Suddenly, he was appearing at major championship boxing matches, walking out alongside world champion fighters on live television. He didn't clean up his language, and he didn't follow a script. Traditional networks were forced to just sit back and adapt to his chaotic style, realizing it was the only way to reach his massive audience. 7 years earlier, Darren Watkins Jr. was streaming to an empty chat room from a bedroom in Ohio. He didn't hire an industry agent, audition for a major network, or wait for permission from legacy media companies to build his brand. Instead, he engineered a completely new blueprint for success. His long-form live broadcasts acted as raw material, and a global network of random clip channels distributed that madness across the internet for free. By taking his chaotic, high-energy personality and plugging it directly into global football culture, he forced his way into spaces that used to be strictly reserved for elite athletes and old-school broadcasters. A teenager from Cincinnati started out talking to nobody, and just a few years later, he was standing on football's biggest stage. He didn't get there by playing by the rules, he got there because he became exactly what the internet wanted. The internet didn't change IShowSpeed. IShowSpeed was simply what the internet was changing into. Whether you hit that subscribe button or not, you're still incredibly valuable to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.